하나, 둘, 셋. Hello everybody, my name is Jay. Nice to meet you, or welcome back if you are not new, but I'm debuting, woo! And I've decided to make this kind of behind the scenes look series for what goes on with the making process of the album Late Night. This concept is going to be very exciting. A lot of work has been going on to make this thing happen, and I'm here to show you how everything came together. So, yeah. The first time I came to Korea was, you guys actually know the first time I came to Korea. It was back in 2018, it was fall, and I had actually been invited to participate on a survival show called Under 19. But back then, I was extremely inexperienced. I had started singing really seriously about 6 or 7 months before. Oh please, my heart is all for you. And I didn't know any Korean. I didn't know how Korean culture worked. I didn't know how K-pop as an industry worked. So, just going in there as somebody not knowing anything, due to that inexperience, I wasn't able to do very well on the show. I actually finished on the team that I was on, second to last place, and got eliminated first round. So honestly, I didn't really expect to drop the first round. It feels weird saying it, but at the time, when the first episode had come out, I got that cliffhanger ending and all this crazy editing, but looking back, it's quite plain why I didn't make it past the first round. There was so much that I was lacking in. That being said, Under 19 was an extremely important experience for me because, through that I was able to kind of understand a little bit more, little by little, how things worked over here. And 5 years later, I would be back on survival program television as Jay from Boys Planet. And honestly, when you compare how I was back in Under 19 to how I was on Boys Planet, it's really clear what differences there were, how much more experience that I had, how much more training that I had received. And even though Under 19 was not my best moment, I would say it was definitely my best experience. Whereas, things that I would have never known going in, such as, how to look when in front of cameras, how to present myself in front of other people and judges and in front of fans, and how to talk, how to perform. Going into Boys Planet, I would have never had any sort of real chance if I didn't first have that experience from Under 19. So it really did help me with becoming more in tune with being a K-pop artist. And I think that really helped me the past few years. So when Under 19 ended and the years kind of followed, I had gone back to America, went on tour in America for like a year and a half. And, after all of that stage experience, coming back to Korea, doing stuff here, receiving some training, doing all of that, especially after having been on Under 19, I still had those thoughts about Under 19 and how regretful that kind of was. So I was thinking that, it would be awesome if I could try one more time and see how I do. And that's when the auditions opened for Boys Planet. And I told the company, hey, I would love to do this, if possible. They were very helpful, helping me put together a repertoire of songs to audition with, a location to film it, putting together emails, all that kind of stuff. And I guess I just wasn't what Mnet was looking for, because You know, it had been weeks, and online it said that I remember the article specifically, it said the final auditions have finished and there's this many trainees from this many companies going onto the show. And I was like, well, you know what, at least I tried. And then, you know, a little bit of time passed. We plan on doing another short American tour. So while I'm in America, and I'm already under the impression that I didn't make the audition because of, you know, the articles that came out and how much time had passed, I got a call from my 대표님, and she goes, guess what? I got a call from Mnet today. They want to talk to you one-on-one. In Korea, they usually do these kind of things, like meetings at like 6 p.m., you know, right at the evening time before it's time to go home. But in America, it was 5 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah, we got on a Zoom call, and I was able to talk one-on-one with one of the writers, one of the main writers of the show. And just on my laptop screen, in front of my laptop camera, and just a hotel room somewhere in, I think it was Texas. I would dance. I did Paradox Invasion by ENG.中, and I also sang. I sang a lot of songs. And it was after a couple of days where they found out, they realized that, wait a minute, he was singing like that at 5 o'clock in the morning. It was then that I was told, yeah, you're going to be on the show. And I was like, oh man. I couldn't believe it, because I'd already been under the impression that I didn't make it. So finally being given that chance to just give it another shot on a survival show in Korea. More than excited, I was determined to prove myself once more, and I'd say that goal was pretty much accomplished. While on Boys Planet, I would definitely have to say that nothing at all during those 5 months was as nerve-wracking as it was being on the final stage when everyone was being announced who was making it and who wasn't.
최종 데뷔의 꿈을 이루게 될 가장 빛나는 소녀는 누가 될까요?
I didn't want to disappoint myself, because, you know, if you don't expect anything, then you can never be disappointed. But a deep part of me was like, man, maybe, you know, I wouldn't be upset if I made it. I mean, who would, right? But I didn't make it. As everybody knows, I was absolutely bawling my eyes out, and more than anything, I was just relieved it was over. It was just a very difficult time, so just happy it was over, but also happy that I was able to have such an incredible experience, meet a bunch of wonderful people, and be able to just have front row seats to history was really how I felt at that moment. It wasn't until after the final was over and the next day when I kind of looked and saw that I was actually 10th place, and that kind of surprised me. I didn't think I was going to be 10th place, just because all the way since the first ranking announcement, I had been plummeting in rank. I think that more than a, oh man, I got 10th place, one more and I could have made it, it was more like, wow, 10th place is kind of crazy. I felt really honored and loved, and knowing that all of you guys had my back, it was really, really just beautiful. Just knowing that after all of this struggle, all of this, just all these months of just trying to prove myself, being top 10 out of everybody on that show felt like an honor. So it fired me up more than anything to kind of show you guys that I'm not just Jay from Boys Planet, and hopefully I can now show you guys that. When it came to my parents and Boys Planet, you know, of course, they were very supportive, especially my mom. You know, ever since under 19, she has always been very, very supportive, and, you know, going around online telling people to vote for me, that kind of thing. But I don't think she ever really understood how big Boys Planet was, because I remember, you know, when I told my mom that I was going to be on the final, she was like, "Oh man, that's awesome, that's really cool." And I said, "Yeah, like, maybe, you know, since this is kind of going to be a big deal, you should probably, if you can, see if you can fly over and watch." And she told me that it was when she came into the stadium, in Championship Stadium, and saw how many people were there for just these 18 boys, she kind of then really realized how big of a deal that this Boys Planet final was. And even though I didn't make it to the top 9, I remember she was kind of explaining how proud she was, and it felt weird. It felt like she was more proud of the attention I was getting than I was. She kept, like, you know, kind of like gassing me up, and I was like, "All right, Mom, okay," that kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, my parents have been so supportive, especially my mom. My dad, he kind of knew what was going on because of my mom, but he was chilling. Actually, when it comes to my dad, he's had a crazy influence on my life, and actually his story is pretty wild as well. As many of you may know, my father was a rock star around the New York, New Jersey area, specifically in the 80s, 90s, 70s. And really music was all what he was all about. And when I was born, he kind of went straight away with getting me molded into a musician. Originally, he wanted me to be a guitarist like him, but I started banging the kitchen utensils on the table whenever it was dinner time, and he was like, "Well, oh great, we have another drummer." My relationship with my dad when I was a kid was a little bit strange. I would say when it comes to the music part, he was always very, very good with the way he taught me. He was never adamant. My dad actually has never been in any context a very strict or like adamant, dominating kind of character. And because of that, I would say I learned a lot of things very well. But when it comes to being a dad, I would say more than a dad, my dad was like just a guy with a kid, just a dude with a kid. And he'd always treated me more like an adult or like a friend than as his kid. And being a child, it kind of made me resent him a lot, because he treated me with so much, you know, accountability and responsibility. I was like, "Oh, well, this isn't right, I don't want to do it," or whatever, that kind of thing. I kind of came to realize as I became an adult that I actually really respect and appreciate the way that I was brought up. But yeah, my relationship with my father definitely went from kind of son that hates his dad into, yeah, he's my role model now. And even though he wasn't able to have the music career that he wanted, he has confided into me recently that he lives vicariously through me. So hopefully by becoming a musician that is successful, I'm not only helping myself, but also doing it for my father as well.
I told them I wasn't going to do it, and they were begging me, screaming.
Now, Boys Planet was, as you guys know, a program that puts together a group of people, and yeah, Boys Planet is a group survival program. And although I've never really thought about being in a group before, you might be wondering, why did you go on this program? Well, you know, I just wanted to give it a shot and see if I could, you know, show the world what I had to offer. And if I won, try out being in a K-pop group. But it didn't happen. But through Boys Planet, I was able to meet a lot of other people, get a lot of fresh perspectives, and really find the fun and charm of being in a group. So, you know, there's pros and cons to everything. When it comes to being in a group, you know, I would say it's definitely more fun. I get to show you guys different sides of me, especially depending on who I'm with. Like, for example, like when I'm with Camden, it's more like a brotherly kind of thing. When I'm with Chung, it's more of like a hyung-dong-seng kind of thing. Showing different sides of me is definitely a huge plus as well as just it feels less stressful being one person in a group because you have less responsibility, less pressure, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, you know, going the solo route, I'm able to show myself more, my story, push my specialties to 100%, and I have more creative control over things like the music and how I kind of represent myself. There's a lot of redeeming factors to both sides, and I think it's going to be really fun just being able to debut solo and then being able to experience what being a group is like in a project setting. So hopefully I'll be able to take the experience from both paths and have a more clear idea of what it is I want. Once Boys Planet ended and the guys all debuted as Zero Base One, they invited me out to come and see them at the FanCon. Watching them on that stage and seeing all the people in the stadium kind of cheering for them, it really made me feel proud. And seeing how far they've come ever since struggling together for so long was really an awesome sight to see. But at the same time, it really did inspire me because I also want to be kind of in a position where I can stand on a stage like that in front of so many people. So I felt very proud for the boys, but also inspired that maybe one day I'll be able to share a stage as grand as that. My final goal as a musician is to do just that. Be able to stand on a grand stage in front of a stadium full of people and sing my songs to anyone willing to listen. So we've already finished all of the recording processes. The songs are underway. The jacket photo shoot and the pictures, you know, they're coming out pretty well. So I'm actually really excited to see how everything turns out. I know that the songs are definitely very, very good. I like them, so hopefully you guys like them as well. Actually, when it comes to the songs on the album, I have been pretty heavily involved when it comes to things like, you know, references or making suggestions about the musicality of the songs, or even like the lyrics themselves. I've definitely had probably the biggest involvement when it comes to lyrics. The English versions of all the songs I've wrote 100% myself. Part of me wants to kind of prove to you guys that, you know, you're not just supporting Jay Chang, you're also supporting, you know, the artist behind the character. And I want to show you guys that I am capable of not only performing that music, but also being a part of the creation as well. And hopefully, you know, through this series, I can kind of show you guys a little bit of that. Since the making process behind this project has been so extensive and very hard, I mean, it's not even over yet, so it still hasn't hit me really, the reality of actually debuting. So maybe once the whole process is over and done with, and can sit down and take a step back and kind of look at everything, you know, maybe I'm going to be freaking out a bit. I know that you guys are going to be freaking out, so we can freak out together. Hopefully you guys like it. We're really excited to show you guys everything, and hopefully you guys are excited to see it. So everybody's worked very hard on this project, and I'm excited. I'm excited. Very excited. A little bit nervous, but very excited.